A forest does not go to sleep when the sun disappears. It changes shifts. The animals that depend on daylight retreat into nests, burrows, and sheltered branches. The colors of the forest slowly dissolve into shades of silver, gray, and deep blue. Then, as the last light fades behind the trees, another world begins to stir. Welcome to Big Steve's Quiet Curiosity, a place for interesting stories told slowly. Tonight, we're taking a peaceful walk through a forest after midnight to discover what happens beneath the trees while most of us are asleep. Let's imagine that we are standing at the beginning of a narrow forest path. It is late summer. The air is cool, and the ground still holds a little warmth from the day. At first, the darkness seems nearly complete. The tree trunks are only shadows, and the canopy above appears to be a single dark ceiling. But if we remain still, our eyes begin to adjust. Individual branches emerge. A patch of sky appears between the leaves. The faint outline of the path becomes visible again. The forest has not vanished. We are simply learning to see it differently. During the day, sight dominates our attention. At night, sound takes its place. A leaf moves somewhere nearby. There is a light tapping against a tree trunk. From deeper in the forest comes a repeated call, followed by silence. Every sound seems larger because darkness has hidden its source. Yet the forest is not unusually loud. We are simply listening more carefully. High in the canopy, a small shape leaves a branch and passes silently between the trees. It is a bat beginning another journey through the night. Bats are not blind. They can see, but many species also possess another extraordinary way of understanding their surroundings. As a bat flies, it produces sounds too high for human ears to detect. Those sounds travel through the air and strike trees, leaves, rocks, and insects. Tiny echoes return to the bat, carrying information about the world ahead. From these echoes, the bat can determine an object's distance, direction, and even movement. To us, the forest may appear dark and uncertain. To the bat, it is filled with returning sound. A moth turns suddenly near a branch. The bat changes direction in an instant, stretching its delicate wings and using the membrane near its tail to help capture its prey. Then it disappears between the trees. Across a single night, insect-eating bats may consume enormous numbers of moths, beetles, gnats, and other flying insects. Their work is almost invisible to us, but by morning, the forest has been quietly changed by their passing. Not far away, resting on the bark of an old tree, a moth holds perfectly still. Its wings are patterned in soft browns and grays, blending into the surface beneath it. Many moths are active at night. Some can navigate and distinguish colors under light far dimmer than anything humans can comfortably use. For the moth, darkness provides opportunities. Night-blooming flowers release their fragrance into the cool air. Pale petals reflect what little light is available, guiding visiting insects toward nectar. As a moth drinks, grains of pollen gather on its body. When it moves to another flower, some of that pollen travels with it. A relationship continues beneath the stars. The flower feeds the moth, and the moth helps the flower reproduce. But darkness does not make the moth completely safe. Its most capable hunters are flying nearby. Some moths have even developed ears sensitive to the calls of hunting bats. When they detect one approaching, they may turn sharply, dive toward the ground, or change direction unpredictably. Above the quiet path, a chase is taking place. We cannot hear it. We may never see it. Yet it has been unfolding in forests for millions of nights. From a high branch comes the low call of an owl. The owl waits. It does not need to rush. Its eyes gather the faint available light, while its highly sensitive hearing helps it locate movement below. On the forest floor, a mouse searches among leaves for seeds, berries, and insects. To the mouse, the dry leaves are both shelter and danger. Each step creates a sound. The owl tilts its head. This familiar movement helps it compare sound arriving at its ears from slightly different positions. With remarkable accuracy, it can judge where the noise originated. Then the owl opens its wings. The edges of its flight feathers help soften the sound of air passing over them. Instead of the noticeable flutter produced by many birds, the owl can approach with extraordinary quietness. For a moment, it seems less like an animal flying than a shadow moving through the trees. Tonight, perhaps the mouse reaches the safety of a fallen log. The owl returns to its branch. The forest settles again. Farther along the path, two bright reflections appear between the trees. They belong to a deer. The animal has been feeding at the edge of a clearing, where grasses and low plants receive enough sunlight to grow. Night offers cooler air and some protection from daytime disturbance. The deer watches us briefly. Its ears rotate toward every small sound. Then it takes 2 careful steps and disappears into the undergrowth. Other mammals may also be traveling through the forest. A fox follows a familiar route, passing to listen for movement beneath the leaves. A raccoon explores the edge of a shallow stream. An opossum moves steadily through low vegetation, searching for whatever food the night provides. Not all of these animals will visit every forest. Their presence depends on the region, habitat, weather, and season. But wherever natural darkness remains, some community of nocturnal creatures has adapted to use it. Night is not empty time. It is habitat. Now let's look closer at the ground beneath our feet. A fallen tree lies beside the path. Its bark is soft and broken, and small mushrooms have emerged along one side. The log may appear lifeless. It is anything but. Fungi grow through the wood in networks of fine threads. Along with bacteria and other organisms, they gradually break down its tough structure. Beetles tunnel beneath the bark. Tiny invertebrates feed and shelter in the damp spaces. Small animals consume fungi and carry spores to other parts of the forest. The fallen tree is slowly becoming part of the soil. Nutrients held inside its wood are being released and returned to the ecosystem, where they may eventually support new plants and trees. This process does not belong exclusively to the night. It continues through every hour and season. But in the cool, damp darkness, it seems easier to imagine the quiet work taking place. The forest is constantly building itself from what has fallen. Beside the log, drops of water collect on leaves. The nighttime air is cooler, and humidity often rises as the temperature falls. Along the forest floor, moisture settles into moss, soil, and decaying wood. A salamander may emerge from beneath a stone or damp branch. Unlike mammals and birds, amphibians cannot regulate their body temperature internally. Their delicate skin also needs moisture. For many salamanders, a cool, humid night provides an opportunity to move across the forest floor without drying out. They hunt tiny insects and other invertebrates, usually hidden beneath the leaves. Their movements are small, but salamanders can be remarkably abundant in healthy forests, even though visitors rarely notice them. There may be more life beneath a few square yards of damp leaf litter than we would ever guess from walking past it during the day. Above ground, the trees appear motionless, but they too remain active. Their leaves and cells continue the chemical processes required to stay alive. Water moves through tissues. Sugars produced during daylight are used and transported. Roots interact with the soil and with fungi living around them. The forest at night is not paused. Its work has simply become too slow and too subtle for us to observe directly. A tree can stand in one place for hundreds of yards, experiencing night after night. Moonlight passing across its bark. Owls nesting in its cavities. Insects feeding on its leaves. Fungi connecting with its roots. Generations of animals arriving, living, and disappearing beneath its branches. To us, midnight is a brief point on a clock. To an old tree, it is part of a pattern repeated thousands upon thousands of times. Eventually, the darkness begins to thin. The change is so gradual that it is difficult to identify the moment when night starts becoming morning. The eastern sky turns pale gray. Stars disappear one by one. The owl makes its final call and returns to a sheltered resting place. Bats begin traveling back toward hollow trees, caves, and other roosts. The moth settles beneath a leaf. In the undergrowth, animals that move confidently through the darkness search for cover. Then the first daytime bird begins to sing. Another answers. Within minutes, the forest is filled with voices that were silent throughout the night. The shift changes again. Soon, sunlight reaches the upper branches. Colors return to the leaves. The path looks ordinary once more. A daytime visitor might never know that bats hunted above it. A deer crossed it. A salamander crept through its wet leaves, and an owl listened from the branches overhead. But traces remain. A small print in the mud. A feather caught on a twig. A moth resting against the bark. The forest keeps most of its nighttime stories to itself. Perhaps that is part of its quiet appeal. While we sleep, an entire world continues without an audience. No applause, no announcement. Only countless living things responding to darkness in the ways they have learned over generations. And when morning arrives, they leave the forest much as they found it, quietly. Thank you for walking through the midnight forest with me. This has been Big Steve's Quiet Curiosity. If you'd like another gentle story, you're welcome to subscribe. Until next time, stay curious and rest well.